evening and welcome to our first episode of our Women in Politics, the African Setting series, proudly put together by the Close Foundation. I am your host, Abigail Saba, and today we are starting off with a strong and important conversation with two amazing panelists. We'll be talking about what politics really is, the types of politics we see across Africa, the powerful roles women have played in politics over the years, some of the current political events involving women across the continent. Now, with a bit of introduction from our two panelists, starting with Mr. Nyako Ebenezer, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I believe you're all doing well. So, as my host said, my name is Ebenezer Nyako from Ghana.
Okay,
And
that's great.
I'm a panelist as well. So, it's good to have you on board to discuss this topic in question.
Good to have you too. May we move to the next panelist, please? Mr. Nyako, can we start with your definition of politics? What does politics mean to you, please?
Okay, so with my definition of politics, politics has to do with a coming together of a group of people with a common aim towards building the community and the nation, gathering all the people's concerned about pressing issues and then helping them to solve all these pressing issues. That is what I see politics to be.
Okay, thank you for that definition. So with your definition, we could see that politics is actually really broad and not just what is seen in our national courts. So could you give us some types? Great. Could you give us some types of politics that are practiced in our continent, Africa, please?
Okay, so we have different types of politics. Okay, we have the bilateral politics. That has to do with different countries. Okay, that is maybe a local or maybe a local country to an international country is a politics. Then we have the local to local. That is maybe two African countries, within the same continent. It's also another different word politics. Okay.
That's really interesting. Could you go a bit deeper into it? Maybe break it down for our listeners.
Okay, so when we come to politics, per my understanding, let's take for instance, Ghana and Nigeria, okay, they are all in West Africa, okay, and they share certain common things together in terms of trade, in terms of business, in terms of food, okay. So when it comes to with trade, Ghana go to Nigeria to exchange goods or to buy goods, okay. The same way as Nigeria to also come to Ghana to buy goods, okay. So they do this trading in a form of politics. So sometimes when Ghana is having a national event, okay, they do invite some of these African countries, their president, okay, or their head of state, they do invite them, and it's a way of what? Politics, right? Yeah, and we also have the local to an international. So let's take, for instance, let's say USA and then Ghana, okay? Ghana is an African country, and then USA is let's say it's an international country, okay? So Ghana do business with other foreign countries, just to make the politics so interesting.
Yes,
that's what I can say.
Thank you so much for helping us understand. So we'll just with every issue of men in politics. So we know that women have played important political roles, but they haven't been widely recognized. A few have been documented. Could you take us through a few examples? Mr. Nyako,
well, this one, I would like to start from the olden days. Okay, not before I come to the current one. Okay, so
Okay.
I would like to
Thank you.
um
Bye.
Hello.
can I go on?
Yes, please,
Can
you
I
could.
proceed?
Yes, please, you could.
Okay, so I will start from Nana Kunedu Ajiman, okay, who happens to be the late wife for Jerry John Rawlings, okay. Yeah. She was the former first lady and the founder of NDP. Okay. She played a major role in contributing to women in politics. Okay. She formed a political party in those years, and then she did marvelously well. Yeah, and up to date, she still play a little role in politics, although it is not as massive as those days. Okay, but she still contribute to political what issues and political what challenges. Yes, and then I think one of her daughters, yeah, I think one of her daughters is an MP in Ghana here. Yeah, I think I've forgotten the name, but when I remember, I'll try and then bring it on board. So, you know, the mom was able to pick up this political mandate and role, and then she was able to deliver well. And the daughter too picked or learned from her mom, and then she's now what's doing massively. So I think that the mom has been a role model to her. That is
Mhm.
what I would say. The mom has been a role model to her. So I think women in politics are doing very well. And then aside Nana Ajima Kunedu Rollins, we also have Ikuya Donko, who is now late. Okay. Yeah. She formed the Ghana Freedom Party. Yes. So she did very well. You know, in a way of politics, most of the times when she speaks, okay,
Mhm.
it's kind of jovial, but she was making sense. She was making sense, and then she was contributing a lot. You know, she was able to mobilize a lot of females, a lot of Ghanaian youth towards the nation building. Yes, and then it's quite unfortunate that this recent election, that was 2004 2005 election, she wasn't able to make it to the election period. Yeah, that was a very sad on her side.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
And then we also have you know, when we come to Ghana, this our 50 pesos currency. There's this lady on top. You know, there's this head. I don't know whether you've noticed that.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, if you've noticed that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she also contributed to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's, who was our first president of Ghana. You know, she also contributed to the fundraising campaign during Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's era. Okay, she was a market woman at Accra Central. Yes,
Mm.
she was a flour distributor in a livestock. Yeah, so when she does business and then she gain a lot of income, she invests her money and her resources into politics by supporting what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to win the election in those years. So she was able to help Dr. Kwame Nkrumah secure the seat for Accra Central.
Oh,
Yes,
wow, that's
and
amazing.
that was a great job on her side too. And we also have Theodosia Oko. Yes, she was the one who designed the Ghana flag.
Yes, yes.
Yes, she was the one who designed the Ghana flag. I don't and she also contributed a lot to politics. Okay, she also contributed a lot to women in politics by designing the Ghana flag, and then the significance of the flag, the meaning of it, and a whole lot. So in remembrance of her, you know, the leaders or the leadership of Ghana built a hockey stadium at Accra. It is closer to the Mokola market. So they named the stadium after her, just to, I mean, to remember what she also contributed to politics and the country Ghana in a whole. So yeah, I think there are more women in politics. There are more women in politics. In Ghana here, we have our former first Speaker of Parliament, in the person of the Gloria, if I don't know if I'm right with the name. Yeah, we have maybe I might not be right with the name, but we have our former first Speaker of Parliament. Yeah, after Michael Kwe and then Babin. Yeah, there was this former female speaker. So yeah, I think women are doing greatly well. And currently we have our first female vice president in the person of Jenana Opukwajiman, who is a chancellor, vice chancellor at who was a vice chancellor at University of Cape Coast. Okay, she's an educationist and then also a politician as well. And looking at her record, she has achieved so many things. So many things. Yes, she's a mom too. And then I sometimes I ask myself, how do these people combine so many, I mean, leadership positions, and at the end of the day, they are able to handle it very well. So that means that she's a tough lady. Indeed, she's a tough lady. Yes. And then coming downwards, we also have some female ministers in Ghana currently as I speak. So we have Minister for Tourism in Ghana currently speaking, is a female in the person of Difa Gomashi. Yeah, Honorable Difa Gomashi. She's the current Minister for Tourism and then Creative Arts. We also have Minister for Fishery and Aquaculture in the person of Emiliata. She's also a female. So you can see that the females are gradually climbing the political ladder gradually. They are showing up. And then some years to come, it will surprise you that we are going to have a female president in Ghana. Some years to
Yes.
come. Yes. Some years to come. We also have Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ejuri. She's also a minister for trade and agribusiness in Ghana. Yes. We also have another female minister in the person of Honorable Dr. Agnes Na Momo Latte. She's the Minister for Gender and Children and Social Protection. Yes, so we also have other female regional ministers. So currently, the Greater Accra minister, yes, she's a female, and then the Eastern Regional Minister too is also a female in the person of Rita Akusia Eje. Yes, so you can see there are so many number of women in politics who are shining, and then they are serving as a role model to the young ones who are also coming. So
Thank you so much.
in years to come, we will hear a lot of females shining in politics. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
You've given us a lot about what's going on currently with the women in politics. So let's backtrack a bit and talk about their role in leadership or rulership before independence was attained. Miss Nana, could you please give us a brief history of that? Maybe examples of queens or queen mothers or heads of states we had, any forms of rulership we had before we attained independence, please.
And before we attained independence, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, so I think before we attain independence, well, before I start, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm much grateful to contribute to this meeting. And I can say that before Ghana attained its independence, one of the well-known women in Ghana, I think we are all aware of, is Yaa Santua. Yes,
Yes.
and I believe Santua played a very important role, especially to the Asantes. And many Ghanaians, when I heard of her, I think I heard of her in primary. The first time I heard of her, like I felt like she was a very brave person because you approaching the white people, those who they have guns, we have knives, we just have
Yeah.
stones and weapons. They have guns, they have everything. So like she was still able to try and embolden the men, like be strong because it's not any fight, but we have to fight for our battle. It is our land. And I
Yes.
think she played a very versatile role towards the growth of Ghana. Like she really played an important role. And the fact that she threatened to let the whites shaking because it's a mere woman who is trying to fight. But I admire her because she played the role of advising the kings. She was also, and you see the kings today trust women a lot, so they know that the queen mother, she's very knowledgeable in her ways.
Yes.
And so when it comes to Ghana, I can say she was one of the women I can say she had really helped Ghanaian women. Yeah, personally I can say that. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're welcome. Mm,
Okay. So we'll move on to in the fight to attain independence. So before we had all these great ministers, there was a fight to attain independence. And we know that women constitute more than half of this continent's population. Are there examples of the positions women held and then the roles they played where they helped in attaining independence of their various countries? It could be any country, Ghana, Nigeria, anything. Mr. Nyanko, would you like to give us an example? And then Mr. Samuel will continue. Thank you. Mr. Ebenezer.
Yeah, so as my colleague said, yeah, so yes, Antoine joining in the fight of independence during the 1960s. Okay, we also have Hannah Kuju, okay, in the period of 1980 to 1968. You know, she was one of the leading female figures in the UGNCC, that's the United Good Coast, and then later in Kwame Nkrumah's party, that is Convention Proposed Party. So she played a key role in organizing rallies and then political education and then women's mobilization for independence. And she was instrumental in campaigning for the release of the Big Six when they were in prison in 1948. Yes, we also have
Yes.
Sophia Duku, and then she was a teacher and activist who worked with the CPP, and then she was among the first female political activists in Ghana. She helped educate and then mobilize women across the country. We also have Amma Nkrumah. She was a passionate member of the CPP. She actively participated in political rallies and worked closely with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, known for her public speaking and then organizing skills, particularly in rally women and in the rural areas. So we also have Susanna Hassan in the period of 1927 to 1997. She was also the first female minister in Ghana in post independence. So she worked on issues of women's empowerment and youth mobilization. So in a nutshell, you could see that all these women I have mentioned so far, they played a role in women empowerment, women mobilization, and then campaigning for the previous or the past political parties just to be in power and then build the country or the nation as well. Yeah, we also have we also have other female ladies in other countries who has also played a significant role in their countries. Okay, yes. So before, I believe before each country gain independence, it is not only the men that fought in gaining independence. The women too also played a role in it. Okay.
Yes.
So I think anytime we are mentioning of independence, women too must be given that praises. Uh, they must be appreciated of what they did. Yeah. So I think that's
Yes.
what I'll say for now. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So with the plenty examples that Mr. Nyako and Miss Nana gave, we could clearly see that women have been involved way back, and they even helped us to attain independence. But then right after independence, you see a decline in women's power status. What do you think caused that? What led to the deterioration of the women's role and status in rulership? Anyone could take it.
Um, I feel like I believe that during after Ghana gained her independence, I believe Ghanaians were so, see, Nkrumah was on the lead. He was trying to put out Ghana out there, trying his best to bring even all the other African countries together. But then I also
Yes.
realized that as these leaders were evolving, there was an increase in this number. It's like they were prioritizing on the male leaders more. And I think personally to me, the women were a bit of excluded. There were quite few. So it's like the government wasn't really encouraging the women. He wasn't really putting in the efforts to create the awareness that women, we have to. And I also don't blame them. I mean, the illiteracy, there was a whole lot of illiteracy in the country. So it's like everyone was still trying their best to get on their feet, to get,
Yes.
yes. And another factor I also say is there was economic changes, yes, because during the development, Ghana was evolving. Like there were lots of introduction to new forms of development, and it's like the women were mostly placed in sectors where those were traditional roles, like those
Yeah.
ones which are normally used in the house. So it's like the women were not introduced to these economic changes on time. So I'm sure it took some time for them to see that no, the women are not being really educated into the use of these technologies, like picking up onto these agricultural trade and I mean economization with these machines and all that. I'm sure the men were so into it that it's like the women were just doing the basic ones. And so
Yes.
I believe there was no encouragement to put in the put in the energy in the women that yes, the men are doing, but we can also help. Like we can also be trained to do it. I'm sure they also felt like no, it's going to stress them. No, I mean, yeah. So that's what I would say.
You are very right. Because I'd like to add something. Just after independence, you mentioned that the economies got really bad. So in those times, it was encouraged that you let the male go to school and be literate. So it just created the whole gap between literate and illiterate. And the illiterate had to do the other things that were menial, I would say. And then the literate had to be the ones going to the offices and going into the rulership roles. Mr. Nyanko, would you like to add another factor that caused this?
Okay, so I think after independence, okay, there was collapse of female network. The women during the period of independence, they were so united, and then they were able to mobilize or come together in their number to help fight and gain independence for their countries. Okay, now after they had the independence, their number collapsed. Now, these are some of the reasons why their number collapsed. There was a lack of access of education and then resources. So as
Mm-hmm.
our dear sister said, okay, the women were not much getting the access to education and the resources that will empower them to, build up themselves and then get more skills, okay, so that they can be well equipped in the society. Now, another factor is that, after the gain of independence, the men became so nominated, they became so famous in politics that women have to return to the traditional home. That is, they have to go to like their place of, work has to be the kitchen, like the home, and they have to be caretakers and then supporters, okay, not leaders. You get it?
Yes.
So they were out of the political, let's say, they were out of the political game. Okay, theirs is supposed to be in the house to take care of the children, the family members, and that was so bad. That was so bad. And again, there was again, women were not given the symbolic positions after independence. They were supposed to be lifted high as well as the men, okay, so that you know those who are coming up can get the zeal, the energy to also pick up from where their leaders left. Okay, so there was that lack of symbolic positions. Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you so much. We've talked a lot and we've broken down things, and now we know the state of politics in our continent, specifically Ghana. Now let's move on to some current affairs that are affecting women in Africa. We start with in Nigeria, where in February 2025 this year, the Nigerian Senator Natasha was accused the Senate President Goswell of sexual harassment. And shortly after that, she was suspended from the Senate for 6 months, officially for misconduct. The Senate stated that her suspension was unrelated to her allegations against Goswell. Miss Nana, what are your thoughts on her recent suspension? Do you believe it was solely due to misconduct, or could it be related to her allegations against the Senate president?
Well, and this is a bit difficult, but I'll try. Well, I could say that um before that, I didn't really have a full information on what happened in Nigeria, but then was there a proof of what she did that really showed that she was sexualized? If
I
I may
believe they
ask.
are still, yes, they are still working towards that. So some are saying it's not very transparent at this moment. So we can't necessarily pinpoint a hand on anything.
Mhm. Well, I think it was not, they shouldn't have put her on hold for that moment. They could have found enough proof and then take the issue to court. And then we can then question her if she's really guilty of that. And then she can then agree that yes, she is guilty. But then we can't just find these few proof, like these things, and then it's like they are not really sure of whether these allegations made against her are true or not. And it's like they are really confused. So personally, I feel like it's because of the president. Like personally, that's what, because I'm not creating comparison, but if it was in the male sector, they would just, I don't know for Nigeria, but I feel like Ghana, if they heard that, it's like we just close our eyes on it. What happened to the lady in
Yes.
Ghana who just took the sums of money? What's her name? He took the sums of money in a home that Ghanaians saw a lot of it. And it's like, till date, we are not
No
really
one has
seeing
said
the
anything.
result. Yes, we are not really seeing the result. Like, what are we doing about it? The money has been taken. Is it that we are leaving her? Are we letting her go? Are we closing our eyes to what is the new party doing about it? I
Yeah.
believe these things, sometimes we close our eyes on it as leaders, they close their eyes on it. And I don't think in the Western world, USA, the country and the presidents like Trump will waste his time on an issue like this. I mean, the next step has to be made. What proof are we going to make out to say that, oh, she really did that, or no, she didn't do that? And with all that, then you can make the necessary action to put in place. Yeah, that's what I'll see.
Thank you so much. Mr. Beneza, would you like to add?
I think dear sister has said it well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think
Thank you.
proper investigation needs to be done
Mm,
before you know they settle the issue. So that's what I would say.
okay. So I'm sure you guys are aware that there are only 4 women in the Nigerian Senate, right?
Please, I didn't hear what you said.
There are only 4 women in the Nigerian Senate.
Personally, me, I'm not aware of that.
Neither am
Oh,
I.
okay. So generally, let's refer to other African countries. Do you think female politicians face challenges in the political system? Do you think?
Uh, but okay, I think they also face, challenges, okay, as compared to the men, okay, but for the men's own is quite different from the women. Okay, the women do face a lot. They do face a lot, yeah. So with currently there's this particular president, female president in this African country. Is it Namibia? Yeah, yeah, Namibia. The president. Well, she has brought a proposal that those are is it she said earlier on that any foreigner who intend to stay in a country is supposed to get, is it visa, or am
Visa.
I right? Is it
Yes, correct.
visa?
Yes.
Is it visa?
Yes, please.
Yes, yes,
Can you
yes.
hear
So
me?
if you want to, yeah, if you want to come to her country, you need to go through, I mean, the normal process. You need to get a visa before you come to her country. And I think she's right in a way. When you want to go to some European countries, if you're in Africa and you want to, or if you are from Africa and you want to go to an European countries, we do go through their system. So why is it not the same as when they also want to come to our country? They also need to go through our system. So that proposal she's bringing, or that policy she's bringing, is a good one, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge to her, and I think with time, majority of them will understand. Yes. So women do face a lot of challenges. It could be threat. Some get threatened, in the
Mm,
course of handling issues. They get threatened by other uh, business partners or political opponents. They get threatened, just that they don't come out. You wouldn't hear it often, them coming out to say it. Okay. They solve the issue in their own way. Yes. It could be in a financial, situation. It could be in a health situation. And currently, not long ago, the vice president of Ghana, she wasn't feeling well, and after uh, getting some treatment at the Bridge Hospital, she needed to go overseas for further treatment. So she traveled outside. And when she went outside, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, she's dead." A whole lot of rumor in town. Okay. Yes.
yeah.
And I think one guy was arrested. He made a statement, the arrest war, and people
Wow.
misinterpreted that. So he was sent to court, and his lawyer was able to, I mean, interpret the statement to the court well, and then he's given a bail. Yes, he's given a bail. Now
Mm-hmm.
our vice president is back in good health. So sometimes, yeah, women go through a lot, a lot, a lot. So these are some few examples. Mm.
Thank you. Um, Miss Nana, with our Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, do you feel a certain way So my question is basically asking if you feel inspired as a young lady to also aim for leadership roles with her being elected as the vice president of Ghana.
Well, yeah, this question many people ask me because we have the same name. And well, when I heard that she's going to be the vice, initially I didn't believe, because initially there was this route between NPP and NDC, but then I didn't believe
Yes.
that NDC was actually going to make her vice. And so when I saw what she was doing, and then I checked on what she actually achieved, that made her gain up. I was like, this lady is more than what you think. Like, she's really industrial. Like,
Yes.
she's a mom, she knows what she's doing, she's managing. She was once a vice chancellor head, that was for tech. Yes, she was once about vice chancellor, sorry. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, like, she's really inspiring a lot of young women. And so when people see me, they're like, hey, no, like, how does she inspire you? Like, this lady, she should be inspiring you to go on, like,
Yes.
come. Yeah. So I really felt that zeal to keep going, like, to keep doing my best in what I do, and to, yeah, not to give up in my face of work, because it's not easy, especially when you want to be a leader as a lady.
Yeah.
You have to still stand your ground, you have to set your boundaries as a lady, because you don't want them, you don't want your who or your other male workers to see you and then lose that respect, because I'm sure Miss Nan, our vice president, sees herself as she's a respectable person. She has given herself that name that she has to be respected. She's not just seen and then spoken of anyhow.
Yes.
I was really inspired by that. Yeah. Yes, that's what I was saying.
It's really fantastic to know that. Mr. Ebenezer, how do you also feel?
Okay, so aside I think aside her being academist, okay, or academia, well, she did contribute a lot to the development of the party. That was how come she was nominated to be the running mate for Mahama. Okay, yeah, being the running mate for a former president is not an easy task. It has you have to be someone with an outstanding performance. Okay,
Yes.
and then looking at her, she has all the qualities, all the leadership roles that one must be well emulated of. So, you know, I'm not surprised that she's a vice president now, okay, because she has been a vice chancellor and a chancellor too as well. So she's really doing well. She's really doing well. She's full of package. Yeah, she's full
Yes.
of package. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So today's discussion has been truly insightful. Thank you all for your brilliant contributions. Thank you, Mr. Ebenezer. Thank you, Miss Nana. So next week's discussions will center around the importance for women to support each other in politics, how women are making real differences, and the negative decisions women in politics have made. And then to top it off, we'll talk about the violence against women in politics. I am your host, Abigail Saba, on this session. And I had Mr. Ebenezer with me and Miss Nana with me. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, same to you. And happy Easter too as well.
Thank you. Happy Easter to you too.
Thank you, everyone. Happy
Happy
Easter.
Easter.
We'll see everyone next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.